And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vasel, and today we're taking a look at a game called Exchange. Don't let the market play you. So this is a light strategy game from Bicycle, the company well known for making playing cards. Stock exchange games, I tend to like them, but they're usually heavier games. A light stock market game could be good, but I have to say, I was really kind of put off by this cover and name, Exchange. Like, I opened it up, looked okay. But I was then quite surprised at what I found when I played it. Let me show you how it works. In this game, players are playing with banks, bonds, and insurance. And each player is going to have a board showing how many of each of these that they have. You're going to get that by getting a founder card at the beginning of the game. And this will tell you, like if I start with Andrew Barkley, I'll have 4, 4, and 6. And I also start with $300 cash. While Gideon here has 10, 4, and 0. Ephraim, Peter, and you can see the different characters will start with various amounts of money. And banks, bonds, and insurance. So once you've done that, each player is also going to get some cards and a little card holder for each phase of the game. The game's going to take place over 5 rounds. So in each round, you'll start with phase 1. Each player is going to pick insurance, bonds, or banks. That's it. That's what you're going to be dealing with this turn. Everyone's going to pick them and then reveal them at the same time. So here I'm dealing with insurance. Now, on the second round of the game, you're then going to be picking whether you're going to buy or sell and how many of that share you will be buying or selling. So let's say, for example, I go, you know what? I'm going to buy 4 shares. So I'm going to stick that in here. Now, you'll notice the 4 is hidden, but the buy is there. Everyone will then reveal so people can see that I'm buying. They know I'm buying insurance. They don't know how many of insurance I'm going to buy. Then everyone is going to manipulate the market. So I might, for example, decide I'm going to make insurance go down 1 because I want the price of insurance to be lower. And so everyone will reveal these, and then these are adjusted accordingly. Let's say someone else made insurance go down 1, but then someone else made it go up 1. So it's down here. This might go up here. These will move around. And then players will then reveal how many they're buying or selling, and you will buy and or sell them. If you don't have enough money to buy shares, you have to sell shares of the other types to get to the money you need to be able to buy what you're having. If you're selling, you just take the cards over here in cash. Now, when the market's being manipulated, if it's 90 and it goes higher, goes back to 10. If it's 10 and it goes lower, goes back to 90. And if you're playing with 4 or less players, then at 80 and 20 is where it circles in. So these is very volatile. That's called popping the bubble. Now, another thing to note that in each of these rounds, you will also, in the third thing, be turning over a card here, which will change things. Here, national debt makes bonds go down by 2. And these cards will deal with, during this round, the bubble can't pop. All securities are +1. All securities are -1. Your cards you play now count as +or -2 instead of +or -1. So there's always going to be a card. And at any point, a player can pay $50 cash to look at the top card. After the first round, and going into the last 4 rounds, there's also going to be a lobbyist. Whoever has the most cash on hand gets the lobbyist, and this is just another envelope with 3 more of these cards, and you'll be able to add 1 more. So whoever has the lobbyist has a little bit more control over the market. And then finally, after the 5th round, you will then move 1 more time, and players will play just phase 3, with no lobbyists, just everybody here playing their one last, changing the prices, and then everybody will sell everything they have for the current prices, and then the player with the most cash is the winner of the game. So the game comes with a box that holds all the pieces in with a nice plastic insert. Now, like I said, the game has a really boring look to it, and I find that to be unfortunate because I think the game could look a lot nicer. It's kind of, blah. But the component quality is high. These boards, the sliders, they're a little, not super tough to move, but they stay where I want them to stay, and I like that a lot when you have sliders. The money cards, which are cards, not paper money, are good quality, and I think they'll last pretty well. The market forces, again, these kind of look boring. I wish there was art on them, but it's clear what they do. My only complaint might be that I think you may have to eventually sleeve these cards. The cards are good quality, but you're constantly putting them in these envelopes over and over and over again over the course of the game. It works well. I also wonder why they didn't put Phase 3 on both sides. I don't know why that's that big of a deal, because we're like, do you put it in this side? It doesn't matter, really. But overall, I will say I'm impressed with the components. This game is more fun than it has any right being, I guess. I don't know. Like, I don't normally expect a game about the stock market to be this exciting and entertaining, but this is actually one of my favorite stock market games. Now, it's really light. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's really light. It is a party stock market game, but it just is so much fun as you sit there and try to outthink everybody else. This is definitely a game in which there's this, what are my opponents going to do at any given point? Again, the component quality is high, but it's this back and forth that makes the game. And the fact that the market pops so easy and goes in both directions. There's so much of the Vicini double think here. As I sit there, there's a stock at 80. And I know I put down, I'm going to sell that stock. And so my opponent Jane is looking at me and she is wondering if I'm just selling one stock, trying to get her to manipulate that stock so that later on next turn I can buy it for a cheap price, because she's thinking I'm going to raise it 1 to 90. So she'll raise it 1, 2, and then it will go to 10, and then I'm not selling anything. And then I'm sitting there, maybe I'm thinking, I'm going to try to sell a whole lot of these shares. I'm not going to raise it at all, assuming that Jane is going to raise it 1 also. Then I don't raise it. I'll drop the share that she's selling and make that worth less. Meanwhile, crazy man Bob over here just does something else. And so I'm sitting there thinking about what everyone else is doing. Everyone picks, you reveal. There's lots of laughter. Then there's the event, which can change things. And I'll tell you what, $50 is the right amount of money. It's enough to make you go, oof, to look at a card. But sometimes that knowledge of what that card is that handy. It's even more interesting when someone looks at that card and then you watch what they do. And they're like, well, they saw the card and they say they're buying bonds, but maybe they're just trying to get me to buy them. And it's only 5 rounds. It's not a long game. It's just that entertaining. We had a blast playing this one. I was, again, really surprised, but it's fast, it's fun. There's a lot of talk, a lot of backstabbery, sometimes convincing, like, hey, let's all work on this together, but you never know what someone's card is. Just enough information shown each round, and it's not that complicated. Round 1, you got 3 choices. Round 2, you have like 18 choices, just different numbers, buy or sell. And in round 3, 3 choices. That's it. But those choices mix, and it works okay at smaller numbers too. The 3-player game of this works well. So I like it a lot. It's really fun. We'll be playing a live version on this in the upcoming week so you can see how it works. But that's exchange. Don't let the market play you. Don't pass this one by because of its cover. It's actually quite fun. Dice Tower Judgment approved.